Well. Hello. I haven't lined up that picture very well, have I? Okay. Let's get out of the way. Okay. This is a book. I'm going to read a little bit before I get started. Something I read yesterday. Alan Watts. You could hopefully see his name down there. And this is called The Book on the Taboo of Knowing Who You Are. And I've only really just got started on this book. But I just want to read probably a page or so of text from this, okay? And he's kind of explaining, I think, the whole ethos of the book in this section. So let's go. I believe this stuff too, okay? And just think, he was writing this book. When was this written? 1953. So this is, if I can do the maths, this is 71 years old, this book. It's 71 years old. And I didn't know that many people thought this kind of thing back then. I thought this was a relatively new phenomenon. But I guess reading Neville Goddard, reading Alan Watts, and there's Florence Scovel, the kind of law of attraction people from the early 1900s were talking about this, but perhaps in different ways. Okay, so if I don't know, Florence Scovel Shinn, we got who's the famous guy, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and what's the other guy, the Science of Getting Rich guy, I can't remember his name. It's on my bookshelf somewhere. Anyway, let's read. There was never a time when the world began, because it goes round and round like a circle, and there is no place on a circle where it begins. Look at my watch, which tells the time. It goes round, and so the world repeats itself again. But just as the hour hand of the watch goes up to 12 and down to 6, so too there is day and night, waking and sleeping, living and dying, summer and winter. You can't have any one of these without the other, because you wouldn't be able to know what black is unless you had seen it side by side with white, or white unless side by side with black. In the same way, there are times when the world is and times when it isn't. For if the world went on and on without rest for ever and ever, it would get horribly tired of itself. It comes and it goes. Now you see it, now you don't. So because it doesn't get tired of itself, it always comes back again after it disappears. It's like your breath. It goes in and out, and if you try and hold it in all the time, you feel terrible. It's also like the game of hide and seek, because it's always fun to find new ways of hiding, and to seek for someone who doesn't always hide in the same place. God also likes to play hide and seek, but because there is nothing outside God, he has no one but himself to play with. But he gets over this difficulty by pretending that he is not himself. Important bit. This is his way of hiding from himself. He pretends that he is you and I and all the people in the world, all the animals, all the plants, all the rocks, and all the stars. In this way he has strange and wonderful adventures, some of which are terrible and frightening, but these are just like bad dreams, for when he wakes up they will disappear. Now when God plays hide and pretends that he is you and I, he does it so well that it takes him a long time to remember where and how he hid himself. But that's the whole fun of it. Just what he wanted to do. He doesn't want to find himself too quickly, for that would spoil the game. That is why it is so difficult for you and me to find out that we are God in disguise, pretending not to be himself. But when the game has gone on long enough, all of us will wake up, stop pretending, and remember that we are all one single self, with a capital S, the God, who is all that there is and who lives forever and ever. Of course, you must remember that God isn't shaped like a person. People have skins, and there is always something outside our skins. If there weren't, we wouldn't know the difference between what is inside and outside our bodies. But God has no skin and no shape, because there isn't any outside to him. I'll just skip that bit. The inside and the outside of God are turn the page, same. And though I have been talking about God as he and not she, God isn't a man or a woman. I didn't say it because we usually say it for things that aren't alive. God is the self of the world, but you can't see God for the same reason that without a mirror you can't see your own eyes, and you certainly can't bite your own teeth or look inside your head. Yourself is that cleverly hidden because it is God hiding. You may ask why God sometimes hides in the form of horrible people or pretends to be people who suffer great disease and pain. Remember, first, that he isn't really doing this to anyone but himself. Remember, too, that in almost all the stories you enjoy, there have to be bad people as well as good people. For the thrill of the tale is to find out how the good people will get the better of the bad. It's the same as when we play cards. At the beginning of the game, we shuffle them all into a mess, which is like the bad things in the world. But the point of the game is to put the mess into good or order, and the one who does it best is the winner. Then we shuffle the cards once more and play again. So it goes with this world. Okay. Moral of the story, and I think that probably the moral of the book, although I haven't got there yet, is that we are, let's use the common parlance, okay, of fractals of God, okay, which God is everywhere, okay, the entire universe is God, okay, and I am part of the universe, as are you. So I think that's what people have a problem with, okay, because we have this skin and we have this kind of physical body and we move that physical body around the world and we appear to be very separate from the things that are around us, okay. I am quite clearly not a tree, okay. I couldn't just walk up to a tree and kind of walk through it or blend in with it and become physically a tree, okay. But each individual thing is just an element of God or the universe. Okay? I'm happy with either language, okay, whatever, is just experiencing itself from a different perspective. Okay, it's almost like you have to have bad to know what good is. Okay, you need to experience sadness to know true joy. Now, I don't fully believe that, but that's kind of what Alan Watts is saying there. Okay, we can't have black without white. Okay, otherwise everything would simply be grey. Okay, like the weather in England. Okay, grey. 250 odd days of the year, grey. Okay, it's not necessarily raining, but well, it is today. But okay, so this is what Alan Watts was trying to teach us this. 60, 70, 80 years ago when he was alive and doing talks and writing books and all that kind of stuff. And thankfully, we've got things such as social media now where we can, listen to AI versions of his voice and real versions of his voice at will for many, many hours because he recorded lots and lots of things. Okay? But the majority of what he talks about is Zen Buddhism. Okay? And Zen Buddhism has been around for 2,000 plus years. So people on this planet have been trying to tell us this for thousands of years. And whether it's been intentionally suppressed or it's been mistranslated or it just hasn't had the audience that it's required to gain greater ground, we're not talking about it. We're not aware of it. So it's just very interesting. I really love that I live in this age where we can share this kind of information. And even though I'm generally only reaching a few people, a handful here and there, others are not. Others are reaching thousands, which is amazing. Sharing the same kind of information that I'm sharing, that Alan Watts was sharing, that Napoleon Hill was sharing, that Neville Goddard was sharing, and great masters from the past we're sharing, and we're talking about it now on a much larger scale, and people are paying attention. Not to me, unfortunately, but people are paying attention. I'm very thankful for that. And if it wasn't for social media, and if it wasn't for the challenges that I've experienced, and I wouldn't say they've not been particularly harrowing. I've not had like near-death experiences. I've not had abusive relationships. I've not had serious diseases, but I've had significant aches and pains in my life, and my aches and pains haven't gone away with normal methods, and that's led me on to doing and looking in other places, and the looking in other places has led me to religion, not one in particular, probably mostly leaning towards Buddhism, with sprinkles of Christianity in there. Okay, or maybe the other way around, Christianity with sprinkles of Buddhism, because I look back at my childhood and go, I wasn't particularly religious as a child, but my mother was brought up in a Catholic environment, and we basically didn't do the whole Catholic thing because my mum had a very bad experience with the Catholic Church when she was a child. She went to a Catholic school, like state-run Catholic school, not like a nice privately run Catholic school. She grew up in she grew up poor, and she was mistreated by nuns and priests. So, again, I don't think in a particularly bad way like you hear about in the news, but nonetheless not treated well, and other children she knew were treated in those ways. So we kind of avoided that kind of whole environment as a child, and that probably coloured my adulthood up until fairly recently, probably the last few years. So my issue, I suppose, is there are a few phrases, I think, in the Bible that one stands out, and I come to this phrase often, and I haven't studied the Bible, so there might be Christians out here who have studied the Bible way more significantly than I have, who disagree, and fine, okay, I'm open to this kind of education. It's fine. Jesus said, "You are like me, okay? You can do the things that I can do." Essentially, okay, in paraphrasing, you can do what I can do, okay, and more. I can't remember exactly where that is. It's in the New Testament. I think it's John or Matthew. You can do what I can do and more. What's that telling us? Seriously, okay, what is that telling us? Okay, you can do what I can do and more. Okay, well, Jesus, again, in modern terms, astral projected. Jesus probably levitated. Jesus raised the dead, for God's sake. Okay, he cured lepers. He cured people with diseases that we still struggle to cure now, okay, with medicine. But Jesus was saying, you can do what I can do and more. And from what I can understand from church, I've never heard a priest say that. Okay, I've never heard a vicar say that. Okay, granted, I've not been to very many sermons, but we don't hear that very much. Okay, that's not really a phrase that's talked about, I don't think. So why is that not talked about? Okay, this is what Buddha was saying. Okay, everyone is an enlightened being. We're just unaware of it. Okay, we've hidden it. We've been, whether it's been from like state control or whether we just simply don't know of what we're capable of. And the whole purpose of Buddhism is to achieve enlightenment. Okay, and enlightenment is essentially what Jesus was. Okay, we want to achieve Christ consciousness. To me, Christ consciousness and Buddhahood and enlightenment, they're all the same thing. That's us saying we become unfettered, unlimited in what we are capable of doing. And it's a case of belief. We need to unshackle ourselves from the beliefs that are holding us down. And unless we meditate or potentially journal or ask ourselves questions in the style of, I don't know, DeMartini, or like a high quality coach. John DeMartini, by the way, he lives his life by questions. He talks about telos and all this kind of stuff. About understanding self, okay, and finding purpose and all these kinds of things. And unless we do that and really question ourselves and look for peace, look for the magic, okay, in our lives, okay, the small magic that exists, okay, everyone, we're not necessarily looking for, levitation and healing, healing people instantaneously or within a few minutes, straight away. We're not looking for that straight away, okay. Know that it's possible. Know that you could, with your hands or with your thoughts, okay, it's all magnetic field, electromagnetic fields, it's all broadcastable from this skin suit that we are wearing. It's all possible, okay, but you're not going to be able to start there unless for some reason you have this sudden boom, okay, I'm enlightened, okay. It happens sometimes, okay, kind of what happened to Buddha. It's like, okay, well, all these things I'm being taught in Hindu, because he grew up Hindu, in a Hindu culture, all these things, it's like, I don't quite agree. There's something else. That seems like a very long way. And he woke up and found the short way, essentially. Okay. The short way. Okay. There is suffering. Okay. Yes, there is suffering in the world. What's the second noble truth? I can't remember the second noble truth off the top of my head. Okay. And third noble truth is there is nirvana. The truth of nirvana exists. And the fourth noble truth is the eight-step path, okay, and like living right, and right meditation and right thought, and again, I can't remember all the steps, but that's essentially the shortcut to enlightenment. Okay, we're not sitting here waiting for God or the universe to grant me these powers. Okay, I need to go through life with my eyes open. Okay, not sat here in meditation, literally. Okay, literally with my eyes open, performing actions. Okay, and doing them with faith that they are right, and asking for guidance from the universe or God or Jesus or Buddha even, or any other kind of enlightened person you might have heard of, to take right steps. Okay, and here's the thing: you are enlightened. Okay, so who can you ask? This guy. Okay, your higher self. Okay, your higher self knows the answer. Okay, we might call it intuition, we might call it a gut feeling, and we might mistrust our intuition and our gut feelings because it tells us to do things that are uncomfortable. It tells us to do things that make no sense. You might ask your intuition, okay, how can I help more people today? And it will say, do star jumps. Don't know. Okay, and you think, oh, how can helping people and star jumps, how does that correlate? Well, you don't know until you do the star jumps. Hey, maybe you film them, maybe it encourages someone to change their diet and habits. Hey, maybe you just do them, you don't film it, you don't tell anyone about it, you just do them. Hey, and then because you then start trusting that inner voice and you start trusting that intuition, it then starts giving you real advice. Okay, it starts giving you the things that are actually going to move you forward. Okay, and it gives you them in a way that is peaceful to you. Okay, it's not going to cause you drama, it's not going to cause you stress, it's not going to cause you worry to do them. You're going to go, right, okay, I trust this voice that's inside me, intuition, your inner tutor, your inner teacher, okay, which is connected to, it's your higher self, it's connected to the universe, it knows. Okay, it's your egoic mind that doesn't know. Okay, your big ego, your high self ego knows. Okay, you've just created a disconnection between what you think is possible. Okay, let's put it here in this gap. Okay, we've got higher self over here, we've got egoic conscious mind over here. This is full of beliefs and perceptions and how the world is and judgments of people. Okay, and this is like, we're all the same. I know everything. I'm connected to the universe. Okay, this is connected to what I've read in books and what I've been taught. Okay, and well, what you've read in books and what you've been taught might be wrong. Okay, because it's not connected to the higher self. Okay, and when we start going, hang on a minute, I'm going to build a bridge. I'm going to build a bridge here, and I want to talk to this one. I want to talk to the left hand because the right hand has been taking me down a path. Okay, it's struggle, it's pain, it's suffering. Okay, well, why not go over to the true self and find out what to do? Okay, and in the beginning, it's going to give you simple things. And you'll be like, I don't understand. Why am I doing 5 push-ups? Well, I'll just do 5 push-ups and see what happens. Hey, why am I doing this email? Why am I writing an email to this person? Why it should be? I know my goal is over here. My goal is that thing. Hey, my goal is to, I don't know, be a professional footballer, win Olympic gold, make millions of pounds. Why am I doing this seemingly unrelated, stupid thing? Again, you don't know until you find out. So do them. Okay, and the way of finding out if this is the true thing for me to do is to try it out. Give it a month. Give it a month of following your intuition. Okay, spend a minute. Okay, just asking yourself, okay, what do I do next? Okay, and then maybe you complete that task, and then for the next 59 minutes you do what you would normally be doing. Okay, and then for another minute, okay, what do I do next? And then maybe it takes you a couple of minutes to do that thing. And then for the next 57 minutes, you do what you would normally do. And you continue that process. Okay, well, what does my intuition want to tell me to do right now? Okay, 5 jumping jacks. Well, mine is actually saying 5 jumping jacks. So I'm going to do 5 jumping jacks right now. This is how easy it is. Try not to knock anything over in my little room here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. All right, that was a completely terrible video, but that's how easy it can be to follow your intuition, okay? Your intuition will not give you something that you are not ready for, okay? It might induce a little bit of anxiety. It might induce a little bit of fear, but know that you are supported because you are a fractal of God. You are a holographic part of the universe. And with a hologram, you know, the tiniest part of the hologram, you can recreate the whole picture. Okay, so theoretically, you could take a single cell or a bacteria and create the universe. You could take an atom and recreate the universe because everything is a fractal of the original thing. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to... yeah, we'll just leave it there. I'm going to come back in a moment with a meditation, wherever you're watching this. Have a great day. And I'll see you again another time with more talks about the universe and how, I mean, everything is both pointless and completely necessary all at the same time. Amazing.